Sigma males are often misunderstood. They don't chase attention. They don't look for approval. They move quietly, choosing their own path and ignoring what society says they should be. While most people follow the crowd, Sigma males create their own direction. And as they age, this way of life changes, quietly but powerfully. The world expects people to settle down, follow routines, and live predictably as they get older. Sigma males don't do that. They evolve in ways that are not always visible at first. But the shift is real. Over time, their thinking becomes clearer. Their decisions become sharper. Their presence grows stronger. This growth doesn't come from outside pressure. It comes from within. Sigma males learn through observation, experience, and reflection. They don't need loud lessons to grow. They learn by watching the world closely and listening to themselves even more. As they age, they become more aware of who they are and what really matters. They stop chasing things that once distracted them. They don't need to prove anything. They know their worth. And because they grow without asking for permission, their evolution often surprises people. You won't see this change on social media. Sigma males don't show off, but if you look closely, you'll notice it. They move with more purpose. They speak less, but say more. They're calmer, sharper, and more in control of their lives than ever before. This video will look at 6 surprising ways Sigma males evolve with age. These aren't surface changes. They're deep shifts in mindset, behavior, and lifestyle. They don't turn the Sigma male into someone new. They make him more of who he really is. Let's start with the first way Sigma males evolve. They grow more deeply aware of themselves, and that awareness changes everything. Way number 1, deepening self-awareness. As Sigma males get older, one of the biggest changes they go through is how well they know themselves. In their younger years, they're already different, more quiet, more independent, more focused on their own path. But even then, they don't fully understand just how unique they are. Time helps them see it clearly. With age, Sigma males stop wondering if they're too distant or too quiet. They stop trying to explain themselves to people who never understood them in the first place. Instead, they start to look inward, asking better questions. What truly drives me? What drains me? What do I really want to spend my life doing? This level of reflection leads to strong self-awareness. They become clear on what they need and what they don't. They stop second-guessing every move. They know their strengths and they know their limits. They know how to avoid what doesn't serve them and how to focus on what does. They also stop comparing themselves to others. When they were younger, even if they didn't show it, they noticed how different they were. And sometimes that difference felt like isolation. But as they mature, they realize that being different was never the problem. It was the beginning of their strength. This realization frees them. They stop feeling pressure to explain their lifestyle or prove their thinking. They accept who they are, and in that acceptance they find peace. They're no longer chasing the wrong paths. They're refining their own. This deep self-awareness also makes them more honest. They don't pretend to like things they don't. They don't fake conversations or emotions. They live with more truth, internally and externally. And that truth becomes a compass. It leads them to better choices, better relationships, and better outcomes. Because they understand themselves so well, they also stop wasting time. They know which battles are worth fighting. They know which doors are worth opening. They don't get pulled into distractions as easily. Their time becomes more valuable, and they protect it fiercely. Another result of this self-awareness is emotional maturity. Sigma males learn to identify their feelings without being ruled by them. They recognize stress, anger, sadness, and fear, but they don't let those emotions control their behavior. This makes them more calm, more focused, and more powerful in silence. This growth isn't about becoming someone new. It's about shedding all the parts of life that never really fit. The roles, the labels, the noise. The older a Sigma male gets, the more he moves toward the center of who he really is. And that self-awareness becomes unshakable. It also makes his presence stronger. People may not be able to explain it, but they feel it. The Sigma doesn't need to lead with words. His quiet confidence speaks for itself. That's what happens when you know yourself. You don't need to prove it. You just live it. This change takes time, but once it happens, it sticks. And it becomes the foundation for every other part of their evolution. Way number 2. Enhanced emotional resilience. Sigma males are already emotionally independent when they're young. They don't rely on others to feel complete, but as they age, this independence turns into something even more powerful: emotional resilience. They don't just handle emotions well, they become masters of staying calm under pressure. This change doesn't happen overnight. It's built through experiences, hard ones. Sigma males face failure, rejection, loss, and setbacks just like anyone else. But they don't break from it. They learn from it. And over time, they develop the kind of emotional strength that's rare to find. When they're younger, they may still struggle with feelings like anger, confusion, or sadness, but they keep it to themselves. As they mature, they learn how to deal with those emotions in a healthy way. They don't deny how they feel, but they don't let those feelings run the show either. They stop reacting to small problems. They stop worrying about every opinion. They stop letting the world around them shake what's inside them. Instead, they slow down, think clearly, and move forward without being thrown off balance. This makes them appear cold to some people, but it's not coldness. It's control. The Sigma male learns that reacting emotionally doesn't help most situations. So he learns to respond instead. And that response comes from a place of calm, not chaos. They also stop taking things personally. In the past, they may have wondered why people misunderstood them, rejected them, or pulled away. Now they don't worry about it. They realize not everyone will get them, and that's fine. Their peace doesn't depend on being accepted. This kind of emotional strength becomes their armor. It protects them from the drama, chaos, and noise that others get trapped in. They don't get pulled into pointless arguments. They don't fall for manipulation. They see the game and they walk away from it. It also helps them lead others, even when they don't want to be leaders. In work, family, or community settings, people look to the Sigma male when things get tough. Why? Because he doesn't panic. He doesn't crumble. He stays grounded. And that grounded energy helps others feel safe. They also learn how to set boundaries without guilt. If something feels wrong, they say no. If someone drains their energy, they distance themselves. They no longer let emotions stop them from protecting their time, peace, and focus. And that protection builds even more strength. This emotional resilience also affects their health. Less stress, fewer outbursts, better focus, more rest, more clarity. Their mind and body work better together because they're not constantly reacting to everything that comes their way. With this kind of emotional growth, the Sigma male doesn't need to explain himself anymore. He lives his truth, respects his emotions, and doesn't let them control him. That kind of control isn't common, and that's why it stands out. It's not just about being tough. It's about being stable. And in a world full of noise, that stability makes the Sigma male stronger with every year. Way number 3, refined social interactions. Sigma males are naturally introverted. They value their space, protect their energy, and avoid unnecessary interaction. When they're younger, this often leads to misunderstandings. People might call them distant or antisocial. But as they age, their social skills evolve, not because they want to become social butterflies, but because they've learned what matters. They begin to understand that not all interaction is bad. Over time, they learn how to connect without draining themselves. They become more skilled at handling social environments on their own terms. This doesn't mean they change their personality. It means they refine their social approach. In their early years, Sigma males often avoid gatherings or group activities completely. As they age, they become more strategic. They might attend fewer events, but the ones they choose are meaningful. They don't try to impress anyone. They just show up as themselves, speak when necessary, and leave when they're done. No guilt, no apology. What changes with age is the way they interact. They become more direct, more clear, and more confident. They stop pretending to enjoy small talk. Instead, they steer conversations toward purpose. If they're going to speak, They want the talk to have depth, truth, or insight. This honesty makes their social life smaller, but better. They stop wasting time with people who drain them. They focus on those who bring clarity, peace, or value. It becomes about quality, not quantity. They also become better at reading people. With time and experience, they recognize red flags faster. They see through fake charm, shallow talk, and attention-seeking behavior. They don't react, they simply choose not to engage. This saves them time, energy, and stress. Their relationships, both personal and professional, improve. Because they don't chase attention, the people who stay around them are real. They aren't there for drama or popularity. They're there because the connection feels grounded. That kind of bond gets stronger with age. Sigma males also learn how to hold boundaries better. In the past, they may have let people in out of politeness or obligation. Now they protect their peace more carefully. They don't return messages right away. They don't say yes unless it feels right. This isn't rudeness. It's discipline. Their presence changes too. As they grow, they give off a calm, grounded energy. Even in silence, people listen. Even when they don't say much, their words carry weight. That's because they've learned how to use words wisely, and only when needed. They don't play social games. They don't gossip. They don't fake emotions. This makes them a little hard to read, but also deeply respected by those who understand them. As they age, they become known not for what they say, but for the peace they bring. They also become better at helping others feel calm. Because they don't bring chaos, people begin to trust their presence. In tense rooms, they provide quiet strength. In conflict, they remain neutral. They don't take sides, they take clarity. These changes don't happen fast, but over the years, the Sigma male becomes a sharper, more grounded version of his younger self. Still independent, still quiet, but now more balanced in how he handles people. This refined way of interacting sets him apart. He's not cold, he's clear. He's not distant, he's focused. And the older he gets, the more powerful that clarity becomes in every connection he makes. Way number 4. Increased focus on purpose. When Sigma males are young, they often move in different directions. They try things, test systems, explore ideas. They don't follow trends, but they still explore paths. As they age, that energy becomes more focused. They stop chasing possibilities and start building purpose. This shift isn't forced, it's natural. Over time, the Sigma male begins to notice what matters and what doesn't. He learns which goals were distractions and which ones feel real. He drops the noise. He chooses the signal. This brings sharp clarity. He no longer spreads himself too thin. He picks one or two core areas, work, creation, learning, or service, and he goes deep. He doesn't need to be good at everything. He just needs to be great at what aligns with his values. The idea of purpose becomes more personal. It's not about impressing others or proving himself. It's about using his skills in a way that feels real. That might mean building a business, writing a book, supporting a cause, solving a problem. It doesn't have to be big, but it has to mean something. The Sigma male stops trying to check boxes. Marriage, money, fame. If those things don't align with his purpose, he walks away from them. He no longer lets other people's timelines define his. He builds on truth, not pressure. This change makes him more intentional. He doesn't say yes to distractions. He doesn't take jobs just for the paycheck. He doesn't waste years following what doesn't feel right. Every step now leads somewhere. This strong sense of purpose also makes him more productive. He's not rushing, he's focused. He wakes up with direction. He spends time with meaning. He's not working harder just to be busy, he's working smarter to go deep. This also changes how he sees success. It's not about applause or achievement. It's about fulfillment. If he finishes a day knowing he lived honestly, worked well, and stayed true to his path, that's success. That's purpose. With this clarity, he becomes harder to influence. He doesn't care what others are doing. He doesn't compare paths. He's not impressed by titles, trends, or noise. He respects those who move with purpose and walks away from those who don't. This focused energy gives him power. In a world full of distraction, a man with direction stands out. People feel it when he walks into a room. They don't need to ask what he's doing. They can see it in how he moves. His conversations change too. He talks less about people and more about ideas. Less about problems, more about solutions. He seeks out thinkers, builders and doers. He values conversations that lead somewhere. Purpose also brings peace. Because he's no longer searching, he's building. That focus removes doubt. When challenges come, he doesn't break, he adapts. He knows why he's here. He knows where he's going. As this mindset grows, the Sigma male doesn't slow down, he sharpens. With each year, his work becomes more refined. His life becomes more aligned. His choices become more honest. That's what happens when purpose becomes clear. It doesn't just guide you, it becomes the structure of your life. Way number 5, embracing mentorship roles. Sigma males don't chase leadership. They don't care about being in charge. But over time, people start to notice their wisdom. Without asking for it, the Sigma male becomes someone others turn to. Not because he's loud, but because he's real. As they age, Sigma males collect experiences. They make mistakes, fix problems, and learn lessons that go deep. And even though they move quietly, that knowledge begins to speak through them. Younger people notice, peers notice, even strangers notice. They begin asking questions. How did you handle that? Why did you walk away? What would you do differently? And while the Sigma male doesn't always seek the role, he often steps into it, not as a leader in title, but as a guide in action. He doesn't teach with lectures. He teaches with behavior. How he handles pressure. How he sets boundaries. How he speaks when needed and stays silent when it's wise. These actions become lessons. People learn not just from what he says, but from how he lives. What changes with age is the Sigma's willingness to help. In youth, he avoids attention. But as he grows, he sees the value in sharing knowledge, especially when it helps someone avoid the same mistakes. He still doesn't seek followers. He doesn't need applause. But he becomes more open to mentoring one-on-one, quietly, respectfully, with purpose. He gives advice when asked. He shares stories when they help. He doesn't try to shape others, but he offers them tools to shape themselves. And that's real mentorship. This often surprises people. They expect him to stay distant. But when he speaks, they realize he's been watching, listening, and thinking all along. He just waited for the right time to speak. The Sigma male never stops being independent. But he learns that strength isn't just in solitude. It's also in helping others find their own strength. He doesn't rescue people. He doesn't control them. He teaches them how to rely on themselves. At work, this might look like guiding younger co-workers. In life, it might mean being a stable presence for family or friends. In communities, it means being someone who offers clear thinking when others are confused. His influence is quiet but lasting. He doesn't tell people what to do. He asks the right questions. And those questions open doors others didn't see before. The Sigma also knows when to step back. He doesn't try to lead someone who isn't ready. He respects the journey. He offers help, not direction. If someone listens, great. If not, he keeps moving. This approach makes his mentorship more honest. There's no ego in it, no control. Just wisdom earned through years of walking alone. And the older he gets, the more he sees the value in sharing it. Way number 6. Mastery of personal freedom. The final way Sigma males evolve with age is one of the most powerful. They reach a level of personal freedom that very few people ever experience. This isn't about money, location, or status. It's about control over their time, their energy, and their direction in life. When they're young, Sigma males already show signs of independence. They choose their own path, ignore trends, and live by their values. But even then, they're still figuring things out. They still deal with outside expectations, social pressure, and sometimes even doubt. As they grow older, those distractions fall away. What's left is freedom. They've made the mistakes. They've learned what doesn't work. They've dropped the people, habits, and systems that don't align with who they really are. And because of that, they no longer need to prove anything to anyone. They move through life with complete clarity. This kind of freedom means they don't answer to anyone unless they choose to. They don't take jobs that drain them. They don't stay in relationships that block their growth. They don't follow routines that feel fake. Their life is custom-built around what matters to them, and that makes every day feel more like their own. They also protect their time in a way most people don't. They don't let others pull them into drama, gossip, or pressure. They say no easily. They walk away quickly. They know that every hour spent on something meaningless is an hour taken from something that matters. This freedom is earned, not given. It comes from years of saying no to what doesn't work, even when it's hard. It comes from discipline, mental, emotional, and physical. It comes from understanding their own values so well that they can't be tempted off course. Sigma males also understand the cost of freedom. They know it means being misunderstood. It means losing people. It means taking full responsibility for their own life. But they accept that cost because the reward is real. Peace, clarity, direction. This freedom also allows them to create more. With fewer distractions, they can focus deeply. They write, build, solve problems, and explore ideas without interruption. Their best work happens in this space of clarity, and it gets better with every passing year. And because they're not chasing money or attention, their work becomes more honest. They don't cut corners. They don't sell out. They stay grounded in what's true. That kind of integrity is rare, and it shows in everything they do. Even in how they live, you see the difference. They don't decorate their lives to impress. They don't collect things for status. They live simply, efficiently, and with meaning. Every choice they make is based on purpose, not pressure. This mastery of personal freedom also affects their mood. They become calmer, more focused, and harder to disturb. They don't get pulled into petty fights. They don't stress over things they can't control. They've built a life they don't need to escape from, and that brings deep, quiet joy. It's not about being perfect. It's about being aligned. Their actions, values, and thoughts all match. And when those things are in balance, freedom follows. That's the final evolution of the Sigma male. Not just surviving outside the system, but thriving in a world built on his own terms. Sigma males don't change overnight. They evolve slowly, steadily, and often without anyone noticing. But with age, every part of who they are becomes sharper, more focused, more true. They don't chase growth for the sake of it. They grow because it makes them more aligned with who they really are. Each year adds something valuable, more self-awareness, more emotional strength, more purpose, and more peace. They stop needing to explain themselves. They stop trying to be understood by everyone. They know who they are, and they let that guide their actions, their relationships, and their future. The world doesn't always see their growth, but it doesn't have to. Sigma males don't evolve for show. They evolve for freedom. If you've ever felt like you don't fit in, like you'd rather walk your own path than follow someone else's, then understand this. The path may be quiet, but it leads somewhere powerful. The Sigma journey is not about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more of yourself. Keep going. You're not behind. You're just building something deep.